welcome to Good Dog, Bad Dog, the show that takes a motley collection of delinquent canines, sends them to doggy boot camp, and in just 6 weeks turns them into compliant, reliable, controllable pets. Well, that's the theory anyway. Taking them through their paces is dog whisperer Keith Mathews. When it comes to doggy trouble, he's seen it all, and to get results, he means business. It's not the dogs that will feel the brunt of his lead though, it's the dog owners.
In my class there's no democracy. I'm in charge, and as I said before, my word is law, and it will remain law whilst I'm teaching the class.
Just get over. Get over.
At the end of the training, both the dogs and their owners will be judged. They'll have to prove that they've turned over a new leaf. And as this is lesson number 4, the tension is mounting. To make matters worse, just look at this weather. The rain has forced the class indoors into a smaller, more confined space. And with these terrible pitches, this could mean disaster. We've got Molly, the playful boxer, Rudy, the mischievous miniature schnauzer, Oscar, the nutty Kerry Blue, Sasha, the naughty Tibetan Terrier, Roxy, the rascal lurcher, Tina, the feisty Jack Russell, and Jess, the wayward Labrador. And with only 3 weeks to go before the dogs are judged, the pressure is on everyone.
What I want you to do, folks, is, as I say, I want you to stand beside your dog, and I want to see if everybody can walk the whole way around the arena.
At this stage, the dog owners should at least have mastered walking to heel and the sit-stay exercise.
Now, I think that deserves a round of applause. Well done. OK, Tim, you're next.
The dogs are expected to remain in a fixed position while the owners walk away from them. This is a huge challenge, especially with so many other dogs around.
Go and bring her back, Morris. That's it.
But not everyone wants to play ball.
When you're doing your heel work, you just take a step forward like that, you turn. Step forward, turn. And keep pivoting like that on your foot, bringing the dog into heel, turning on the dog like that. Okay, heel. You shouldn't be taking a big area. You should be practically working on the size of a postage stamp. It's just turning like that there, turning like that. And if you're doing it right, you should be dizzy at the end of it. And then we'll all sing that song. I'm so dizzy. Right, spread yourselves out now and practice it, please.
Time to catch up with the dogs and their owners. First up is Christina Wallace with her 2 dogs, 11-year-old Tibetan Terrier Sasha and 1.5-year-old miniature Schnauzer Rudy. These 2 well-loved and completely spoiled dogs are in desperate need of some obedience training. Not only do they rule the roost at home, but walks have become hellish. Christina and her brother Stephen have split the training, taking 1 dog each, and there have been some improvements.
The goals that I'd set for myself with regards to the dogs were that I can take the dogs out on the lead with the pram, that they won't pull, that they won't be an embarrassment, that they won't bark at other dogs. If I was giving a percentage of how impressed I am, at the moment I'd be at around 70%, because I do think there is a huge change in them.
Keith has told Christina to spend less time with them, and more importantly that she must ban them from sleeping in the bedroom.
Keith mentioned that we should be building or buying a shed or a shed, as he calls it, for outside. So a friend of ours who's a joiner made them an actual house. They go in there quite happily now, and part of the reason being that I lie in there with them.
You go in?
For 5, 10, 15 minutes sometimes, and they are starting to think it's their home and they love it. They're really comfy there.
And there have been changes at work too.
I thought that by bringing the dogs to work that I was being kind because I wasn't leaving them at home for 8 hours a day. Keith actually pointed out that no, I wasn't doing them any favours, that I was actually making them more clingy to me. That's all changed. I've stopped bringing the dogs to work. The dogs are here now, and they're in the back garden. They're learning to become dogs in that, they don't think they're humans anymore. And I'm treating them like dogs. I don't treat them like they're my children anymore. I treat them like they're animals.
Christina's husband Paddy has just returned from 3 weeks away playing professional rugby. Did he notice any changes in the dogs?
I noticed a good bit of a difference. They have their own house now, outside in the garden, and they're just a bit more obedient. They're not living upstairs with us anymore at night time, they're downstairs, and they don't seem to complain about that at all. So there's been a good few differences. Yeah.
Christina has brought the pram along to class as Keith is keen to address her specific issues with the two dogs.
So what we're going to do is, okay, Vicky and Hilary are our leaders. In other words, we're easy led. What are you joking? Right, what they're going to do is they're going to walk up the white line. Now, you are just going to follow suit, sticking to the white line. Christina's going to come down the middle. All right? Once you get to the top, you just spin round and come down the line again, okay? And you just all follow. All right?
To make things even more complicated, Keith has enlisted the help of two other dog owners with their highly obedient Labradors to act as distractions.
The whole purpose of this class is for me to teach you how to train the dog. And there's no limit to what you can teach your pets, as you see. Those two dogs are sitting steady. Look at the distractions walking around them. Totally under control. They're not robotic. They're just dogs that are well trained.
It all looks a bit frantic to me, so I think it's time to look at our next dog, Oscar the Kerry Blue. Engaged couple Vicky and Sheldon live in Carrickfergus with their 18-month-old Kerry Blue Terrier, Oscar. Up until recently, Oscar has been virtually uncontrollable out on walks, forcing the couple to take on the training. To keep Oscar company, they got a new pup, Dougal, and Keith is paying them a visit to sort out some teething problems.
Well, Vicky, how are you?
Good, thanks. Come on in.
Thank you.
There you go.
Hey, pups. Well, so this is the wee man. There he is.
There he is.
And he's 11 weeks.
He's 11.
Hello, wee pet. Hello, wee pet.
Okay, see when he meets new people, he just jumps up.
Yeah, well, you see, the reason that is because if I want to say hello to you, I make eye contact with you, you know? And the dog's trying to do exactly the same. So sometimes when you bend down to his level, he's less inclined to do it. The other way of doing it is you can actually turn your back on him and ignore him, and then make the dog sit. But with a young pup, it's very difficult to do that with no training. So come down to his level and he's less inclined to do it then, you know?
Vicky and Sheldon are also concerned about Dougal's toilet training and have asked Keith for some advice.
The best way of house training a puppy, really, as far as I'm concerned now, is what they call crate training, okay? So most wee puppies, when you feed them, very quickly, they have to empty the wee stomach and the wee bladder, you know? So what you do is you would feed the dog and you get a crate. Now what a crate is, it's basically like a cage, like, you know, something like a budgie cage. You've probably seen them in the pet shop, right? You would feed them, and very quickly after you feed, I would put him into the crate for about 10-15 minutes. Then you say, okay, good boy, and you take him out, right? Put him on a wee lead, and you take him to one spot in the garden. And once he goes to the toilet, you can give him a command like be clean or toilet or hurry up or whatever the case, but as long as you're consistent with it, the both of you. And you would potty train a dog within 3-4 days of using that system.
To show them exactly what he means, Keith has a sample crate in his van.
Yeah, obviously you'd have a bigger one for the likes of the Kerrys, but I mean it opens and closes, it fits in the car, and it means you can lift it in and out when you're travelling, and it means your dogs are much more secure in the vehicle. But obviously if you were using one in the house, you can use something similar to this, but you can get a more open frame one, which is more wire right round it rather than the plastic, and it's less intimidating for the dogs in the house then.
Back in class, and Keith continues to push the dog owners to maintain control with distractions.
Keep them sitting.
But a comment about homework really hits a nerve.
Now, at home, you should be practicing all the distraction with balls and things like that.
No, I disagree that we are doing our homework and Oscar has sat all week doing that.
Well, he just needs
Cannot
more
get him.
practice, Vicky.
No,
Yes?
no.
Yes, Vicky. Always train the dog for the unexpected.
Oh dear, will there be a mutiny?
Mark. Now, Tim, you see how close that is to you? You watch your dog. Keep moving. I'm thinking of taking up landscape gardening after this is all over. At least the plants don't talk back.
By the end of the class, it's clear that all is not well. So Vicky, not a great day for you and Oscar.
What I get frustrated at is when we're putting the hours in at home and then we're told it doesn't look like we are. And I don't care what Keith said about saying, oh, we took it personally, because Oscar was jumping at the ball, so who else was he talking to? I think Keith's great, and we listen to everything he says, because I really like the improvement in the dog so far has been fantastic. I know he said I took it personally, but I just don't like being told Oscar doesn't do his homework, especially when at the minute our lives are run around Oscar's homework.
You have taken it personally?
I have, yeah.
And Vicky isn't the only one a bit down. Molly has been doing so well up to today, and yet you seem very depressed after the class.
While she did really, really well in a lot of the exercises, when she was close to the other dogs and they were running past her, she was still really getting very, very excited. So I just have this vision of us being back out on walks again and her just running after the other dogs. So I just feel a bit, you know.
Undoubtedly, the best way to find out what's really going on with the dogs and their owners is to visit them away from the class. So I thought I'd pay a visit to Hilary and Jess. 6-year-old Jess has been the Clark's family pet since she was a pup. This dog has serious issues, including aggression to livestock, not good with the horse next door. Keith has encouraged Hilary to socialise Jess more, so she's come to a public park which is filled with all kinds of challenges. Well, Hilary, there's plenty of distractions round here. You've got joggers, ducks, geese, people walking past, kids, prams, just about everything that Jess doesn't like.
I know, and Keith has said it's socialisation that she needs, and she needs to learn what she can and cannot do when she's around other people and bikes, and that it's not acceptable.
Well, shall we take this wee girl for a walk around the lake?
Okay.
Excellent idea. Come on, Jess.
Okay, Jess.
I think Jess has done really well today walking around the lake. So, should we see how she's doing at the training? Would you like to demonstrate for me? Because she needs some practice before she goes up against the judges.
She does. Jess.
This is a big step for Hilary, who normally practices this in the controlled environment of her garden. Here, in a public arena, it's a bigger risk.
There's no point in me now practicing with her in the back garden.
Yeah.
I've got to take her places now where she is going to be challenged.
And there are plenty of challenges here. Jess did very well there. Children on bikes, a big Rottweiler. She never even flinched. But this is literally all you're wanting of her, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I don't want the perfectly controlled dog. You know, a dog that won't budge for half a day unless I tell it to. I just want a dog that is sociable when she's out, well behaved, and if I call her to come back,
she'll come back.
That's really what I'm after, you know.
And all good behaviour deserves a reward. Time for lesson 5, the penultimate training session, and Keith keeps piling on the pressure.
Right, folks, what we're going to do now is, as a wee bit of a distraction, we're going to do our heel work, okay? But what I'm going to do is drive round you in the van and toot the horn and stuff like that. Don't be panicking when I come past. It's about 3 years since I actually hit somebody. Okay? Give him a heel now. A light turn. A light turn.
And from one four-wheel machine to another. Well, we certainly can't accuse Keith of being predictable in his training methods.
John is available Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays to cut your lawn.
Before Keith produces another distraction, I think we should take a look at our next doggy case, Molly the boxer. 2-year-old Molly lives in Brashane with her owners John and Graham, who lavish her with love and attention. Playful Molly loves nothing better than to run rings around them and completely ignores their repeated calls.
Molly.
The little rascal.
Come here, Molly.
In an attempt to regain control, they are totally committed to their training regime.
Well, we've been doing at least 1 hour's worth of training every day with Molly.
Sit.
We started off with we wrote a little timetable, didn't we, to make sure that we were going to deliver on the commitment that we needed to do, but we haven't really been following that too rigidly. We've just been making sure we found the time at the start of the day and the end of the day, really. It's quite tiring, but when you see the results that you're getting, it just motivates you to keep doing more of it, really. So it's been fine. It's been fine.
In addition, they recently made a big decision.
Last week we made the decision to have Molly spayed, and Molly went in and had her operation, and it all went really, really well. I really desperately wanted to see Molly as a mother and see how she'd look after her pups and that journey with the pups. But there again, we didn't think Molly would lose her hair and have the alopecia, and that, to be honest, when we saw that happening, that was starting to stress us out with worry. So I think everything hung, you know, in a bit of a balance with us, and then when we sat down and thought about everything, at the end of the day, nothing matters as long as everything's for the good of Molly, and that's all that matters.
Their training also includes walks into Brashane village to encourage Molly to remain controlled no matter what the distraction. Keith and I thought we'd take a look at their techniques. Keith, every week in the class you say, take the dogs out, take them into town, put them into situations where they can experience the unexpected, and that's exactly what Graham and John have done here with Molly.
Yeah, this is something really that everybody should sort of do when they're starting to train their dog. Once you achieve a bit of control with the dog, then you start bringing it into a natural environment, which obviously this is walking to, because you have to train for the unexpected. And it's about climatising Molly, in this case, to all the different situations that arise when you're walking down the main street.
We've just had somebody come out of the post office, somebody walked past on the street. Molly didn't blink an eyelid.
Yeah, and obviously the more you do that, the better she become. You know, practice makes perfect.
The guys must also keep on top of the basic training, including the sit-stay routine. There's a distraction.
There's a distraction.
A dog on a
She's
lead.
not moving. It's fantastic. Plus, too, the dog becomes more attentive. The master-pupil bond is developing here, and I mean, she respects Graham much more. You know.
She's doing very well.
Excellent. I mean, she was observing the distraction walking past, but she's not flinching. But the old Molly would have been up now and way like blazes after the other dog, you know, to play with it.
This is very impressive because Graham's bouncing the ball, throwing it up in the air above Molly's head, and again she's just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a lot of people would just train the dog to sit. The whole point of it is that the dog has to sit with distractions. I mean, your dog's not trained until it responds to command with distractions, and you have to train for the unexpected. So it's a matter of climatising the dog to all these situations.
It's very obvious that Graham and John have really put the work in with Molly.
Yeah, excellent.
Well done, Molly. Keith has driven around them, he's used lawnmowers, and now his distractions include pigeons.
Morris, what I want you to do is walk Tina around the birds for me, please. And I mean the two in the cage.
How close?
I turn around and walk the opposite way, Morris. That's okay, that'll do as our first introduction. Now this is normal enough. This is a really, really strong distraction. This is almost advanced obedience. So your dogs are actually coping fairly well. The natural hunting instinct kicks in with all the dogs here. Now if it was to sum up the look on Molly's face there, I think what she's actually thinking there is dinner. Okay folks, spread yourselves out now and practice your sit-stay. Away you go.
For some of the dogs, the temptation is too much, but Keith is undeterred. These dogs will learn control. In terms of overall obedience, the dogs seem to be doing pretty well, but there's still individual issues to be addressed. Take Roxy the lurcher here. Still barking at other dogs? Definitely time for a visit from Keith. Bangor couple Tim and Emma got Roxy from a rescue centre. Her unknown past has clearly made an impression, making her unpredictable out on walks. There's no knowing whether she's going to be friendly or hostile to other fellow canines, so Tim and Emma have been giving it their all to sort her out.
Deep down I want her to be perfect and I want her to be the best dog at the end of it all, you know, but to be realistic, I don't know if it's going to happen in 6 weeks. I know we have to carry on the training afterwards and keep it going, and it will take a lot longer.
She mightn't be Lassie or anything yet, but she'll definitely be better than she was, so I'm hopeful that maybe she'll be top of the class, I don't know. You can but dream.
Keith is coming to visit to give Roxy some one-to-one tuition.
Hello,
Keith.
How are you?
You all right?
Well, good man.
Come on in. Just through here.
I hope Roxy didn't do this on the floor, did she?
I'm afraid so.
Oh dear.
Pop her on the lead and we'll go for a lesson now. Okay. All right? Right, we're going to do your sit-stay routine, okay? And we're going to involve the both of you. So you can start it off for me, Tim.
As always, distractions are key to Keith's training. And this time he's brought, yes, it's a hula hoop. And not a peep from Roxy.
Right, Emma, you're next. Now that's really good because with the other dog in the background, now don't forget the problem we have with Roxy. There's the other dog and she's quite happy to remain obedient. Now this time, Tim, what I want you to do is keep communicating with your dog, but I want you to walk around the corner so you're out of sight, okay? The whole point of training at this stage of the game is you have to make it interesting, otherwise she becomes bored with it. So go out of sight, where'd he go, you know? Now don't come back till I say. Now that's really good, you know, he's totally disappeared, you know, and she's quite content to sit there, you know. Okay, Tim, come back. And this is the command, okay, bend down to her level and loads of praise, well done. Okay, guys, you're going to be the distraction, right?
Roxy's training has attracted an audience and Keith quickly enlists the help of some local teenagers.
Right, I want you not too close now to cycle around the dog. That's excellent. Right, walk back to your dog and release her and really give her loads of praise. That was excellent.
Okay, Roxy, good
Well
girl.
done. Good girl.
What I want you to do is just walk your dogs about, crisscross, whatever way you want, and then we're going to let Tina off the lead. All right?
Final exercise is recall, and this is the dog's weakest area.
Look at this here. This is amazing. Look at the distraction of all the dogs. Tina's not a bit bothered. She's preoccupied with the wee ball.
She's done remarkably well.
Really well. Well done.
To motivate the dogs to return to their owners when called, Keith suggests using either a tasty titbit or a toy. In this case, a squeaky ball.
You just move her up here and around with the thing. All right? Get the thing. Show her the ball.
Roxy, what's this?
Right, away you go. Move her around. That's it.
Roxy, what's this?
Now call her and pop her on the lead.
Roxy, Roxy, here.
Wally just, once she was let off the lead, she just bolted.
She went.
She's totally with him now, look. She respects him as her master, look. She understands her position within the pack, and she's totally disinterested in everything going on. Now this is realistic, this is your distraction.
One tiny terror who seems to be making mammoth progress is Tina, the rescue Jack Russell. Maurice and Avril Chapman from Portadown got Tina from a rescue centre when she was about a year old. Within weeks, they realised that Tina came with a lot of baggage.
Tina, before we started, was just about as wild as March hare. She was unbelievably violent, would have flew into rages.
Her aggression to everybody and everything was out of control, but the Chapmans really wanted to help her.
Tina's situation would have been very grim. and she would have been in death row. If she hadn't have been rescued, they probably would have put her down.
Taking Tina in the car was also traumatic, with her incessant barking and frenzied jumping. However, Keith's suggestion of using a travel crate in the car was an instant solution.
It's absolutely great now because we can just put her in the car now and more or less take her everywhere we're going without having any worries about her being violent or aggressive to everybody she meets.
But the training has been slow, with Tina obstinately refusing to cooperate.
We have been out morning, noon, night time, all weathers, absolutely drenched on occasions, but I think it's something you've got to do irrespective of the weather. You've got to keep it up, especially at the start.
To help desensitise Tina, the Chapmans have brought her to a small farm to help socialise her with other animals.
Some of the animals she may well be quite calm about, others she may well be aggressive towards, for she was always used with chasing the horses on the farm. So whether she still does that or not now, we'll just have to see.
First off are some ducks, and so far Tina's doing well. But the next challenge is just too much for the little pooch.
I think she thought those pigs were big fat dogs. She's pulling very hard, that's the only thing. I wasn't surprised that she was barking at the animals when we first arrived, because this was something very unusual for her. But as time went on and we're walking up and down past them, she did get better. She seems to be settling down reasonably well now. Sit. Sit. There now, nobody's not going to touch you. Shoot.
Okay, folks. Well done, that was very good. Your dog's done really well. I'm really chuffed with them today. But I need one final push from you, okay, for next week. You all know next week you're coming under the hands of a judge, all right? We have a lesson next week and we'll put you through a few paces. What I need you to practice is every single thing to did. Really up the ante on your heel work, your sit, stay, and then work on your recall. Your dog's all done fantastic. They're coming back with a distraction of another dog. But that's not an excuse to slack off this week. You have to work twice as hard, okay? Twice as hard this week, all right? Well done. Class dismissed. Thank you.
Keith, is there a top dog for you?
Not really, no. I think they've all really aspired to top dog position. I mean, you know, top dog, there's different ways of looking at top dog, but no, everybody's top dog today for me. Everybody's done tremendously well.
That's the end of Doggy Bit Camp for today, so join us next week for the grand finale of Good Dog, Bad Dog.
Coming up next here on BBC One in Northern Ireland, it's another edition of Panic Attack.
You can reach me by railway, you can reach me by tramway, you can reach me on an airplane, you can reach me with your mind, you can reach me by sailboat, climb a tree and swing rope to rope.
Mondays at 9 on BBC One, the new place for great local television.
Patsy Palmer is Jonathan Ross's guest here on BBC One Northern Ireland after the news at 10:35. But now Stephen